Lindsay Englehart is running and playing rugby in a prom dress, but this isn't a normal uniform for the Lady Chile rugby team, but it's how they played on Saturday. Normally, you see games like this for fundraisers or tough enough to wear pink games, but the Lady Chile rugby team invited teams from Socorro and El Paso to play just for fun. This was the first time since 1991, when the rugby club was made, that they hosted a prom dress game here at NMSU.
Probably my first year playing, we heard that it's a thing that people do, and so then me and then Kendra, who's our fly half, were talking about how we just wanted to do it, so we're like, all right. And then New Mexico Tech was like, yeah, we're down, we'll play with you. So
Girls bought thrift shop dresses and had cleats instead of heels and played one of the most physical sports. Even though they played in dresses, they don't practice in them. The team practices here in preparation for their games. Lindsay and most of the girls have played rugby before and play for the love of the game, while the new girls are learning to love the male-dominated sport. Unlike real prom dresses, the team's dresses will most likely never be wearable again. Stephanie Salazar, News 22 Sports. Keep the keys at home and leave the driving to us. That is what NMSU's Crimson Coach is all about. AS NMSU started the Crimson Coach last semester as an update to their already popular service, Crimson Cab. What makes the Crimson Coach different is the stops that it makes. It hits the most popular locations in Las Cruces, such as De La Vega's, Buffalo Wild Wings, and the Game Sports Bar. The service is free to current NMSU main campus students only if you have a Pete's Pass from the ID Center at NMSU. In order to get a ride from the Crimson Coach, you'll need to come here to get this Pete's Pass. It's a completely different look from your NMSU ID, which has looked the same for the past 7 years. AS NMSU President David Maestas said the reason behind starting the Pete's Pass was to filter out students who don't currently attend the college.
We'll know that the Doña Ana Community College students also have IDs that look exactly like ours. So they started riding the cab. But the problem with that is that they're not paying into the pool of money that the students that are funding the cab. The pool of money that funds the cab is for any students taking 3 credits or more on the main campus.
Other incentives to having Pete's Pass is the 10% discount students get at restaurants around Las Cruces. For News 22, I'm Stephanie Salazar.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back to News 22 Sports. I'm Stephanie Salazar. The NMSU baseball season is underway, and with the great weather last weekend came a great series against St. Mary's. It was their first weekend to play that gave them their 1 loss on the season. However, the Aggies won the first 4 games of the series before falling to the Gales on Sunday afternoon. Despite the 1 loss, it was still an impressive start to the baseball season that has the Aggies currently at 3-1. Standouts from the weekend were junior outfielder Michael Paulson and third baseman Derek Humphreys, who both had 6 hits throughout the weekend series and finished up hitting above 400. Up next for the Aggies is a 4-game series at home against Oakland. And the Lady Aggie tennis team won back-to-back matches this weekend after beating Northern Arizona and Lamar at the NM State Tennis Center. They started off struggling in the doubles matches, only winning 1 out of 2. However, the Aggies did bounce back in singles play, where they won all but 1 in 6 matches. In singles, NMSU senior Ross Pauly Nguyen battled Amelia Box at the number 1 position, where unfortunately for Nguyen had Box on top, winning 2 sets. The Aggies will continue their winning ways at home, where they get ready to host Mississippi this Friday. The NMSU women's golf team was on the road in Texas this weekend as one of 15 teams kicking off the Jim West Challenge hosted by Texas State. As a team, the Aggies shot a final 3-round score of 80 over par, and individually a couple of Aggies stood out from the team. Junior Laura Barron finished in 11th place with a total score of 15 over 228, making that her best golf score as an Aggie. And sophomore Viviana Macias shot 9 over 232 and also finished up in the top 10 of the tournament. The Aggies ended the tournament in 7th place and are looking forward to playing in the Bruin Wave Invitational hosted by UCLA. The prep basketball season is almost over as local teams finished up district play last night. The defending state champions of basketball held off Gadsden last night. The Bulldogs have had a tougher season than expected, but pulled out the nail-biter 51-50 win. Senior JT Romney led the way for the Bulldogs with 17 points. The team men remain in first place in district play after beating Alamogordo last night in double overtime, 81-78. Kavika Johnson led the way for the Bulldogs with 25 points and Dominic Carrasco added 15. Mayfield hosts Oneate on Friday with the #1 seed on the line. And the Centennial Hawks, the cousins of Greg the Hawk Mallory, beat down Santa Teresa 50-27. They improved to 18-7 on the season and 5-0 in district play to clinch the District 3 4A tournament seed. And for today's play of the day, we have a classic game-ending shot courtesy of the NCAA.
Oklahoma State is down by 3 to Baylor. All Baylor has to do is hold on to the ball. Then Oklahoma State steals that ball and makes the three-pointer, buckets, to tie the game and send it into overtime. For News 22 Sports, I'm Stephanie Salazar.
Unbelievable, Brent. That's exactly what we thought could happen if they threw it.
Clearly, the 3 big Mondays in a row. The Big 12 goes to.
Now, just because the show is over, you can still keep in touch with News 22 Sports at KRWG News 22 Sports at yahoo.com. If you have any story ideas, comments, critiques, or just to say hello, so go ahead and let us know. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow night, but still ahead on News 22, Tiffany will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, these people are strolling through the colon for digestive health. More on that when we come back.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Stephanie Salazar. The Lady Aggie basketball team will host 2 conference games this weekend. It has been a rough year for NM State as they are 7-14 overall, but they are 4-4 in conference play. They also are well over at 500 at home with a record of 6-2. The Lady Aggies are currently tied for 5th place in the WAC with Grand Canyon. NM State is coming off a win against Utah Valley, which went into overtime with a final score of 83-78. Sasha Weber led the way for the Aggies with 22 points, 8 boards, and 4 assists. The first of the 2 home games will be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. against Idaho, and Saturday night against Seattle with a 6 p.m. tip-off as well. And the Bulldogs were able to beat their heated rivals Mayfield to win another state championship this past fall. And News 22 sports reporter Greg the Hawk Mallory reports on how Coach and the boys are feeling after another state title.
Yet again, the Las Cruces Bulldogs are the state champions in football. It's the second time in Coach Jim Miller's career that he has won back-to-back state titles. Coach Miller is 6-0 in championship games and says you must have good kids to be so successful.
Have good kids, and that's where it starts. And then we have kids here that work really hard, and it helps you as a coach.
Wide receiver and defensive back Jalen Bishop blocked the extra point to win this year's state title and says his team made it happen for him.
I lined up and I told my guys next to me, I was just like, take your gaps inside. And I was like, I'll get it if you guys can do that. And just
X marks the spot where Jaleb Bishop blocked the extra point to win the game for the Bulldogs. Seniors Jesse Olson and Sam Denmark say that winning back-to-back state titles is a great accomplishment and something they will remember forever.
It was our goal for our whole high school career, and we happened to accomplish that 2 years in a row, and that's just a great feeling.
You really even explain it. It's like nothing else. I mean, it's a great feeling. It's something you always remember, you'll always have with your teammates, and it's just a great experience.
Coach Miller says he would love to get his first three-peat, but knows the work starts now when nobody is watching. For News 22 Sports, I'm Greg the Hawk Mallory.
Not only is the Aggie softball team preseason favorites to win the WAC, but they also have an All-American in their lineup. Junior outfielder Stacy Rodriguez was named to the All-American second team by CollegeSportsMadness.com. She was also named preseason player of the year for the WAC. Rodriguez finished up the 2013 season leading the WAC with 20 home runs and a .357 batting average. Last year, she was named WAC Player of the Year, first team All-Conference, and not to mention All-Pacific Region selection as only a sophomore. She led the Aggies with 63 RBIs and a .780 slugging percentage. Rodriguez enters this season leading the WAC in 4 different categories. And New Mexico State Soccer has some new members coming their way for the 2014 season. New head coach Freddie Delgado announced the signing today. Alexis Ranks from Omaha, Shelby Thomas from Albuquerque, Sarah Walters from Pueblo, local athlete Michaela Malvic from Las Cruces, and Alexis Miller from Highlands Ranch will all be wearing crimson and white next fall. The 5 new student athletes he's bringing in will be joining the Aggie team that ended their 2013 regular season at 5-13 and 2-3 in conference play. And today's News 22 fan favorite play of the day is brought to you by the NBA. Enjoy.
Clippers versus the Heat last night. The ball is inbounded to Crawford, who makes a sweep move around to alley-oop it to Jordan, who has the PB&J slamwich.
And Jordan, a backward slam and a chance for a three-point play.
He is one of the hardest guys.
And that is all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action next week. But still ahead on News 22, Veronica will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast.